I know I put Dina on the spot, but I can step up for a moment. I know, as I said, I'm not feeling 100%, but I'll get our meeting kicked off. So thank you everyone so much for joining tonight. If you are new to the College Area Community Council, we are a local group that connects neighbors to community leaders, and we're so excited to have you tonight. We're a local nonprofit. We are a 501c3, so if you feel up to donating, we would love to have your tax-deductible donation. And we always start off with a presentation from our local Ventura Police Department. So, Commander Hourigan, if you are ready to go, I'll hand it off to you.
I'm ready to go. So for some of you that don't remember, I'm replacing Commander Mike Browne, who retired. I know the last two meetings I haven't been able to attend. One of them I was working nights and we had a big incident, SWAT call out, so I had to stay for that. And last month we were at a retreat with all the commanders, team building, so I wasn't able to attend. So just to go over, it's not letting me share my screen, so I'll just go over it. For the month between May 20th and June 16th, for the total area of the college area, we had 43 crime incidents. That was the same exact number that we had the month prior. Just to go through that, since you can't see the screen, 10 of those were assault offenses, which was up three incidents from the previous month. We had 2 break-ins or burglaries to residents, which was up 2% from last month. We didn't have any the month before. We had one vandalism, which was the same as last month. We had 6 narcotic or drug offenses, which was down by 4 compared to the last month. Fraud cases was only 3, which was down 4 from the previous month. Larcenies is 18, it was up 2. With that, 12 of those, that's any type of theft. 12 of those thefts occurred at the mall. So you can kind of see there's not a lot of thefts going on in the college area if you take away the mall. Motor vehicle thefts or a stolen vehicle, there was 1. There was no the prior month before that. Unfortunately, I can't share the map, but if you look at the map, you can see, I know that one of the big issues with this area is the bus depot. The previous month, we had about 6 drug offenses arrests at the bus depot. This month, we only had 1 assault and 1 vandalism. So there was no drug offenses arrest in that area. That obviously has been a very big focal point for us, is kind of cleaning up the bus depot with some of the issues that happened there. So we have been working hard with our patrol task force and some of our narcotic detectives going out there and doing some type of enforcement with that area. I know Kathy hit me up about there was a resident that I guess wasn't technically part of the college area, but was asking about some offenses or crime stats for the area of Thiel and Portola, kind of just south of the 126. For that area, there was 5 thefts, 2 vandalisms, and 1 motor vehicle theft in that area for the month time frame. With that, I don't really have anything else. Does anybody have any questions for me that I can answer?
I don't see anybody with their hand up for questions, but just want to make sure that you know how much we appreciate your stepping in and taking over the spot and providing our crime stats. Hopefully, you'll be able to share your screen effectively the next time so we can see on the map where the incidents take place. I know that normally is the case. And so it just seems to me that the crime in our area is pretty steady, pretty controlled.
I would say I have the last 3 months, and so between March 18th and April 14th, we had 53 crime incidents with 59 crime offenses. So we could have 1 incident where there's 2 crimes.
Several things.
So that was 53 incidents and 59 offenses. The next month was 43 incidents and 55 crime offenses. This last month, we're at 43 incidents and crime offenses is 53. So it is slowly going down. And I would say a lot of that is the bus depot. Based on the maps that we have from the previous months, we had a lot of narcotics or drug arrests in that area, and it has been a focal point for us to kind of clean that area up, especially for the community wanting to use the bus depot and use the buses. That's not what they want to see. So we obviously have to clean that up. And like I said, if you take away the mall, I mean, there's 12 thefts and larcenies right there.
Right.
Your numbers for this area are really good.
Good.
So it is something. So if anyone has any concerns or anything that they want us to kind of pay attention to in their neighborhood, I know obviously it's becoming summertime, and the e-bike issue is kind of going to be scattered throughout the city and not just Kimball Aquatic Park.
Right.
So we do have some enforcement that we're going to be doing that for the summertime, knowing that the kids won't be in school, stuff like that. So.
All right.
All right. And nobody has questions?
I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. We discussed last month about, Marissa, why don't you go ahead? Marissa, why don't you go ahead? Are you muted?
Yeah, I was just trying to mute and I'm muted, so I'm okay. I'm okay now, I think. Hi, thank you for, my question would be, I'm curious as to how you actually deal with the things that are happening in terms of like at the bus station, for instance, let's say, do you guys just kind of up your patrol more, or do you wait for a call?
No, we use different things. We have been more proactive by using some undercovers, detectives watching some of the stuff going on there, and having a patrol unit or a uniformed officer in the area that will roll in there once they see, maybe someone using drugs or some type of drug sales. And then obviously there was an issue for several months with some vagrants hanging out there. So our patrol task force who deals with our vagrant issues in the city have kind of been showing the more of a presence there. So it's not just call related, it's more enforcement and proactivity that we've been doing to try to stop some of the issues going on there.
So like being seen.
I mean, just
obviously a big deterrent.
Like us not waiting for calls to happen there is being more proactive and kind of showing our presence there. And that obviously does help a lot with just a black and white driving through that area. Or them getting out of their vehicles and kind of doing a walk around that short little area. We obviously have had issues with people using narcotics in the bathrooms. So we've had detectives or officers go into the bathrooms. If we have a female detective, obviously going into a female just to see if there's anybody in there using narcotics.
Yeah, unfortunately. I know years ago, over 10 years ago, I used to I would take the bus and then go up to Santa Barbara to meet my husband who was teaching at the time. And I remember being kind of clueless, and I kind of sat there and got my wallet out to get ready to pay my fare. And oh my gosh, somebody came just buzzing through so quick. He ran. It was before these bikes and stuff. And they're so fast, and he just took off. And I was like shocked, like it happens really quick, and they zip on out of there. So anyways, and it obviously would have been too late for anything to have been done. And
unfortunately that kind of does happen where it's too late. So that's why we've been kind of switching gears and being more proactive and showing presence there instead of just waiting for people or the community or victims to call the police, because obviously most likely the suspect's away. So we have been doing a good job. There is obviously with summer, it's going to be something more often that we're going to be out there and kind of just showing our presence.
Yeah. Thank you for answering my question.
No problem.
Okay. Now my question has to do with the police department working with the city, because last month I brought up changes in speed limits, because there's been a change on Foothill between Agnes and Dorothy, I believe.
Yeah, that's where it is.
I wondered if there were any more speed limit changes in the college area.
Not that I know of. I know some of those are based off accidents, especially with Foothill, because it's so hidden from just police presence that we have really been trying to enforce with our motor unit there to change that speed limit. So they work with the city to do that. But as of right now, I don't know of any other areas where they're changing the speed limit, especially in the college area.
Okay, because Loma Vista, there are residences all along Loma Vista in the section from Mills to
Yeah, all the way down. Yes.
to at least Ashwood, that people have to exit their properties onto Loma Vista. And there's an awful lot of going fast on Loma Vista. So
Yeah, I can bring it up to our motor unit and see if there's any plans for that. They obviously go off of, just the traffic accidents and tickets that they write. But I can reach out to our motor sergeant and see what information he has, or if there's any plans that change that speed limit. I know that's been an issue for the whole 23 years that I've worked here. Living on a street like that is obviously, you're scared to have your kids play in front of your house or pull out of your driveway. So that obviously is a concern, but I'll reach out to him, and next meeting I'll give an update if I get that answer.
thank you.
No problem.
Well, thank you for your visit, and hopefully we'll see you next time, and we'll have our check in order for you.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Next up on our agenda is our report from the Ventura College, and today we have a stand-in, and it's Dr. Marnie Melendez, and she is the VP of Student Affairs. And you want to, I know that you won't be here each month, but if you wanted to give a little intro of yourself and then give us a little update, what's going on at the college?
Sure, my pleasure. Yes, my name is Dr. Marnie Melendez. I've been with the district for about 25 years. I've been at all 3 campuses, and they're all beautiful and wonderful. And so right now I have the pleasure of being at Ventura College. And so I'm really excited. I'm glad they picked me to do this. This is actually a really great group. I'm learning stuff, and I'm like writing stuff down. I think I live in 1,000 Oaks, and I'm like, I think we need something like this. So anyway, I'm very impressed.
And you, excuse me, I'm going to interrupt you just real quickly. You may or may not know, but there are community councils all over the city of Ventura, and this one is just the one that's centered here around the college. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I did take some notes because I will be reporting out to the executive team. So I'm taking my notes too as well. So we have, I don't know what Vanessa Stoddard, who was here prior, I don't know what she has shared and not shared. So I'm just going to go with some things maybe you've already heard. So we have a brand new permanent president, Dr. Luca Lewis, and he's amazing. He's great. He's really breathing fresh air into Ventura College, a lot of new things, structures, and a lot of new activities. So there's going to be a lot of exciting things happening with his leadership. We just also hired a permanent vice president of academic affairs, Rome Romali, and they just started, I don't know, like maybe 2 weeks ago. So just some changes in leadership. We still have our standing business VP of business, James Zavas, who's been there for about 3 years. I am just a stand-in. I actually work at Moore Park College. I'll be going back to Moore Park College in the next 3 weeks. So there will be another interim vice president of student affairs. But once again, we do have a permanent president, and we're looking forward of what he ushers into for Ventura College. One of the new exciting things that we opened is we have a new accessible STEM anatomy lab that just opened. So it's a brand new building. It's a little building. It's like a module, but it's brand new. It's beautiful, and that's where we're housing our anatomy labs, cadaver labs. And then they also have like a little place for student support with studying, like a study hall. So it's very excited. So that came online this summer, and we actually had our first class start on Monday. We are wrapping up our 100th year anniversary. So Ventura College has been in business for 100 years. And all of this past year, we were celebrating all these milestones and every, so it was exciting. And so I hope that you guys attended. We had this big we kept having like little celebrations throughout the campus where we had like one where we brought in like the astronomy and we had like look at the stars celebration. That was our science, division. We had another one with the student government where they had like a diversity festival. And so there was a lot of exciting things happening on our campus throughout the year. One of the things that we finished out with our commencement, we had over 800 students participate. We had more graduates, but 800 participated in the actual walking across the finish line, and that was exciting. And then one of the things that is happening in July is that we have a federal work study job fair, July 30th from 10 to 12. And this is where our students are able to look for jobs on our campus. So that's exciting for our students. We are currently now in the midst of summer school. So there's, a little bit less traffic as you probably can experience. There's like, less students because a lot of our classes are online, being offered online. But fall 26, our first day of the full length semester will be Monday, August 10th. So we're gearing up for fall. So then you're going to gear up for the traffic probably around your neighborhood. Saturday, August 8th we're having a humongous registration event to kick off the fall semester. So anybody, last minute or people who need extra help to register to the college will be here Saturday, August 8th, 9 to 12. And so hopefully you can come and walk around. Maybe you can, say hi. One of the things that I think is really unique that we don't have at Moore Park College, they have a therapy dog. So Wellness Wednesdays. So one of the things that our students can do is take advantage of Wellness Wednesdays where we feature our therapy dog, Bing Bong, who provides that stress relief and some smiles. And let me see. And just to let you know, the housing project, I don't have a lot of information. It's continuing. The housing project, they meet every Thursday to give updates about how it's going, where we at, what are the needs, the construction. So we're still coming along. It's still still happening. So we meet every single Thursday to check in with the housing people that are building the housing. So if you wanted more information, I could ask whoever's coming to give you like a better update. I don't have a lot. I just know that they're continuing to meet as we prepare for the the coming of our student housing project. The other thing is the other wanted to update you on is on Friday, July 3rd, the campus will be closed in observance of Independence Holiday. So those are kind of like the quick updates. Now that I know more about what this group is about, I can brief the president and have and if there's any other questions, maybe you can even front load some questions so whoever's coming can be prepared to answer any questions.
Well, I think you did a fine job pinch hitting.
Okay.
We're always interested in learning, things that are coming up that might impact the area, and like you mentioned. But I do appreciate the information that you gave us. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Melendez?
Yeah.
I do. This is Herb.
Hi.
Dr. Melendez, thanks for joining us. Clearly, one of the things that a lot of folks here are interested in is the status of the housing project.
Sure. Yeah.
What's the schedule? When will
Schedule.
it start?
Schedule.
When will it finish?
Yeah.
What is the occupancy? And what would be the impact on the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Obviously, that is something that many of the local folks
Of course
are interested in.
I do have the occupancy. I do have that. It's 300 beds. But within that, I'm trying to think of the units because so like in one room will be three occupants, in another will be two. So so they do have 300 beds. I'm not sure about the units. Starting, we'll get that provided information next time, and then the finish. Let me tell you something. If you know anything about construction, they'll give you a date, but I don't know, like, they'll say whatever, fall 27, and it's really going to be spring
No,
28.
I do, and I appreciate that, but there are schedules. They
Oh,
have to have a
absolutely.
schedule. So,
Absolutely.
one always measures one's progress against the
Yes,
schedule. So
of
there's got to
course.
be one. So,
They absolutely,
be
and we
helpful.
do have one, and I will, the next will bring that back. I'm writing that down. Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Maritza, it's not
Yes.
Maritza,
Hi.
no T.
That's okay. It's Marisa Sullivan.
Marisa, thank you.
Hi, Dr. Melendez. That was actually my maiden name.
Melendez, we might be
Yeah.
related. We might.
be.
You live in Saticoy? Did you guys grow up in Saticoy?
Yeah.
I think we're related.
I think we are. We'll talk again another time.
Okay. Yeah.
I was thinking it's
Good,
not a
family.
common name, and definitely my dad and people in his family have very deep roots in Saticoy.
Okay.
That's so cool. I was so excited about I'm related. Because now my name's Sullivan, totally different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have two questions, and I understand if you can't necessarily address them.
Okay.
But I think you might be able to answer to confirm the fireworks have moved. Is that correct? From the Ventura College?
Yeah, I don't.
Right?
Yes. I have not
don't
been
know
in
that,
any meetings.
But maybe somebody else may know that. I thought
I do know. I do know
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you probably know, that the fireworks were organized and conducted by the Rotary Club of Ventura. And for the 250th anniversary of the United States, the city said, "Hey, we'd like to take over." And so the fireworks will not be at the college this year.
Okay.
So I know, Kathy, that was something that you kind of wanted to make sure that we mentioned this time. But it will not be at the college this year, and it will be held on July 3rd. And they're going to be, the exhibit will be launched off of the parking garage. So it's going to, downtown Ventura. Downtown Ventura.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, downtown Ventura.
Okay.
That's what I understand.
Okay, thank you for that.
On the 3rd.
Okay, on the 3rd. Interesting. Okay, well, Guy, I have to say that's going to give the dogs in this area a break. Dogs and cats and people. That's always difficult on them. So thank you for that information. And then a question I have that you maybe need to find out for me is I'm curious as to how the Wright Library on Day Road is accessed. Is it, it's kind of, it looks like it gets used for some things, but I'm wondering if it's open to possibly community projects, someone signing up and trying to do something that is, just utilize the space.
Like rent it,
not
like
a library. Yeah, or something, maybe community project. I don't really know. But so that's just a question that I'm fairly certain you can't answer, but maybe you would just put that out there for someone. And the next meeting, someone might be able to. I've been meaning to ask that question a couple meetings, but we've not always had someone, or I didn't make the meeting. So anytime someone can answer that, I'm curious about that. Thank you.
Well, I can give you just a little bit as far as, so I know what we do use it. We were just in there doing a retreat. So we do use it. And I don't think they use it anymore, but we had the city council, like when they were like, I don't know, they were redoing their carpets or something. So I know that there is an avenue of renting or, so there is something, I don't know about if it's only about money. I don't know, but if it's something like, if it's just like, if like a nonprofit wishes to use it for something, but I will bring that up to the VP of business, James Zavas, and he would be the one that I would put you in contact with, because he would be the one doing the approvals or the,
That would
looking
be
out?
great, because I'm
Okay.
looking to my daughter and I, we have, among other things, but we do basket weaving in the tradition we're pursuing, in the tradition of our Shumash ancestors. And so we were trying to get
Okay.
together and provide a place that we could kind of gather and
Okay.
just, work on what we're doing. The other place I was going to look into, of all places, was Sadikoy. There's a community center there, but I just thought the college would be kind of great because it's on Central
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's just right there. And also being on a campus, it's always kind of great for some people to be there.
Yeah. I can definitely circle back. I can email Kathy if I get the answers quickly. But I do think at least I can give you for sure a contact information.
Yeah, I mean, yes or no, if people could
Yeah.
possibly
Yeah.
utilize that space, that would be kind of cool. And I know it's not like a I'm not looking to do a party there or
Yeah.
anything like
Okay.
that. It's just a gathering of people who are, pursuing an interest like that.
It's a great question. Okay. I will get back. I will circle back for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for standing in, and I appreciate your energy and your enthusiasm about finding out what's going on. Thank you so much.
Okay. All righty.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Have a
you
good
so
night.
much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. One of the things we didn't do, and I'm going to move on to our special guest speaker, Ms. Pat Browne, in just a second, but I wanted to, we didn't introduce ourselves. And so I just wanted to throw in that we have a board of directors that helps organize our efforts here. And they include Eric Rosenberg, who, of course, is not feeling well and is not on the call. And then we have our secretary, I think that's what we call your position, Kathy Brimmer.
I'm not sure what I am anymore.
Yeah, and I'm not sure either, but I act as a ad hoc vice president, I guess, of our organization. And then we have Herb Schwinn is acting as our treasurer, and then Bob Shilkin as an ad hoc board member as well. And so I just want to let you know that some of us are, try to put in a little extra time to bring some programming. I know Kathy works very hard to find us speakers to come and talk to you about things that are going on in the community. And I thought I didn't want any more time to go by before we forget about it and didn't introduce ourselves. All right. So next up, we have with us Pat Browne and Peter Ruddock, and they are from an organization that is the Microenterprise Home Kitchen Operation. And we're having this conversation because I believe that we're seeking approval in the city of Ventura to establish some of these home kitchens. And I know I butchered what the topic is, but I figured you can clean it up. And without any further ado, I'll swing it over to you, Pat.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to also introduce, while I'm pressing the share button, and if I can share a page, I think I did this right. Yep, here it is. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Instead of me? Okay, hopefully. No, what I'm going to do is, on behalf of, want to thank you on behalf of Sheila Donahue, who is our city lead for the campaign to getting MEHKOs adopted by the county of Ventura. I live in Camarillo, so I'm working as the county lead. And Peter is our advisor, national policy guru. So I'm going to go ahead and let him do most of it while I run the slides past you. But I wanted to tell you how much we really appreciate being here. And actually, I'm a little bit sorry that I missed asking Dr. Melendez to see if we can get together regarding Thousand Oaks, getting the word out to them in that area too. But why don't I go ahead and turn it over to Peter, and I'll go ahead and do the slides as you tell me.
Pat, would you click the slideshow button up toward the right corner, make it bigger?
It's the slideshow button. Okay. Oh, there's presenter. Is that the one we want?
Click the word slideshow.
Is that better?
Oh, that'll do. Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. I am Peter Ruddock, and I run a little policy consulting firm that specializes in food policy. I have worked I work particularly in local foods. So I've helped write the cottage food law, which you may be familiar with. It's been around for 13 and a half years now. When it came in every county. I helped write the Microenterprise Home Kitchen Operations, or MEHKO law, which has been around about 7 years. And counties or cities that have their own environmental health department have to opt in. So what's on your screen, what Pat just shared, is a little history of these efforts. We have just gotten our 20th jurisdiction out of 62, 58 counties and 4 cities have their own environmental health department. And Long Beach has started issuing permits this week. So we have some work to do in front of us. People are concerned about this. There are a number of concerns that are going to go through in the next set of slides. 2 other states, or another state, Utah, and the District of Columbia, have adopted the MEHKO program. And 7 states have an interesting variation of it, but the same thing, that you can sell homemade meals. And none of the concerns are materializing. And we speculated that for reasons that I'll get into. But rather than doing too much foreshadowing, I'll ask Pat to move on to the next slide. We can start talking a little bit about and we do have a comment at the end of the small slideshow. So what is a microenterprise home kitchen operation? It's a mini restaurant in your home. You can have people come to your home and dine there, or you can teach them a class. You can have them come to your home to pick up a prepared meal, or you can deliver it. And with amendments, you can actually have your meals in a permitted food cart. There aren't many of those. There is a MEHKO food cart in Santa Cruz County who parks on the cliff top and sells pastries, coffee, and tea. I highly recommended you visit him if you're ever up in Capitola. Just a great place to have your morning tea or coffee. There are people doing all of these variations. There are over 1,000 permitted MEHKOs in the 20 jurisdictions that are permitting it. And most of them don't ever want to have a brick and mortar, although some of them do. So this is a test case for those folks. A lot of it is for people who want to work at home. One of the biggest stories we have is the first permitted MEHKO in San Diego County has a backyard pavilion where she serves Balinese food. She had a 2-year wait list, but now said she's only allowing people by invitation for $250 a plate meals. She will shut this thing down when her kids graduate from high school. So the stories are interesting and diverse and all over the map. Next slide, Pat. Okay, there we go. So there are limits on what you can do, and these limits are put in there to answer the concerns that people have. There are limits on the number of meals that you can sell. There are limits on the number of dollars, the income you can get in a year. There are limits on the number of employees you can have. We have seen actually a permitted cottage food operator in San Diego had 33 employees and then whined when they got shut down which most of us in this community disagreed with them, because at some point, if you do want, you do have to consider a brick and mortar in a business district. You can become a nuisance, and this business had become a significant nuisance to their neighbors. So we want you to be a successful business, which includes especially being safe and not being a nuisance. And so we think that some of these rules, especially the income, is a little bit too low, that it doesn't. We hear occasionally people violate this, or people doing this without a permit don't become food safety or neighborhood nuisances until they cross about $300,000. There seems to be some rule there. But we believe in the limits. We want people to have a legal path. We know there are people out there who are just going to do this anyway. Next slide, Pat. Okay. So what do you need to do to become a MEHKO? When your county or one of the 4 cities adopts the program, they set up a program through their environmental health where you will get a permit, you will have your kitchen inspected. They will say that you meet all the basic requirements, that you understand the rules. Your city will require a business license. The state will require a seller's permit. Depending on what you do, it's not taxable, but they always want to know that anyway. You have to take a food manager course for food safety. If you rent, you have to have your landlord's approval. If you have a food cart, as I said, there are only a few of them, that needs to be separately permitted as a mobile facility. So it is a manageable set of permits and licenses. It typically runs $1,000, and then you can and should get insured. So your startup cost is $1,500. Brick and mortar for under 6 figures is unheard of. So this is a good home alternative, or test case for opening that brick and mortar. See if you like it. We heard a few people who wanted to and said it was a great hobby, but I wouldn't want to do it all the time. I'm not going to open the brick and mortar. And we call that success too. The limits also make sure that you are not unfair competition. We do get questions sometimes from restaurants that, why would I want unfair competition? To which I tend to answer them, you know, you wouldn't want to be limited to $100,000 gross income with your 7 employees, would you? And so there are things built in the law to keep it fair, we believe. Next slide, Pat. Okay, so I told you about nuisances. We haven't had very many complaints about nuisances. The most typical one is about signage, which you're not allowed to have. All your promotion needs to be virtual or word of mouth, or perhaps a newspaper ad if you cared. Nothing in your signage on your street. And in the early days, environmental health wasn't telling people that because it's not a health issue, food safety issue. We convinced them if they'll only tell that, they'll be removing problems. And they seem to have all finally heard us that they put out an FAQ as the lead agency. And they tell people, you want to honor your neighbors. And if you're a good neighbor, you might even give a 25% discount to the neighbors on the block. You don't want your neighbors complaining to you, to the police, to the city. You want it to be a good, integral part of the community. Next one, Pat. So today there are about 1,000 permitted MEHKOs. There have been more than that permitted. As I said, success includes people saying, I don't like this as a business. It's obvious people don't re-up. But many do. And a couple of the original ones from Riverside County in 2019 are still serving meals. People worry about foodborne illness outbreaks. I don't have to check this every time a new DEH looks at this, Department of Environmental Health looks at it, they check it. In 9 years, there has been one in Riverside County, which they told us again in Long Beach recently, which statistically is better than restaurants have had over time. Not meaningfully, but statistically. As I said, there have been few nuisance complaints other than signage issues. We have heard one or two about you can barbecue in your backyard and people don't like the constant smell wafting over the fence. And there are things you can do about that, including moving your barbecue or putting up shade trees or something. The photo at the bottom is the coffee cart MEHKO at the top. Okay, one more slide. Pat, please. Okay. So why are we here? We do have an ask. In each of these jurisdictions, it has to be adopted. 58 counties, one of them have a 5-person board of supervisors. They make the vote. The city council does the analogous thing. They have all different plans. They usually want to check with somebody. A couple have just said, we like this and we'll do it. That's fairly rare. But they hear from advocates, hopefully. We've had a few where there were no advocates in the room, and then the fearful people tend to win the day, and we come back. But some of them ask the cities for their opinions, and some of them don't. In Ventura, the Board of Supervisors has asked for the 10 cities. They aren't looking for unanimity, but they want to know that a good number, probably most of the cities, are okay with this. And so we are trying to present to the cities. We have presented to a couple of them, and we'll work to get presented to more. Ventura, with its 7 community councils, has asked us to go to the community council level. So why Pat and I are here this evening. And so our ask of you is to send a letter to the Ventura City Council. We've been working with Councilwoman Liz Campos a bit. I'm not sure, Pat may know, or we can find out if you would send it to her or to City Council's general email. If you're interested in doing this, if you think it would be a good thing for the community, we would like your letter of support. If the council can't do it, or in any case, if you have a business or as an individual you'd like to do it, we have a sign-on letter. If you think this is a good thing, we would like your support at that level. So one more slide after that is contact information. Here it is. And Pat will give you her contact information as well. So that's the quick overview. What we found is the questions take a little bit longer, regardless of how detailed we go into it. So I'm going to stop there and going to let you ask questions, and Pat and I can answer them. She's the local person. I visited a number of times, but I've spent most of my life near San Jose.
Yeah, I have a question. So what, normally when you're trying to decide, should we do something or not, what would you say are the benefits of having these MEHKOs in our community?
Well, I can answer that. The biggest benefit you're going to have, besides employment and the tax base is going to increase slightly, is that you've got people who are going to be able to be caregivers at home, or they can't leave the house for some reason, mobility issues, and they have their own job. Or they have strange hours, and this is what remember, this is a single employee kind of business thing. And so what you've got is a cadre of people who now have got food safety training. One of the things we lost during the pandemic was that when everybody stayed home, we had several Michelin star chefs that were out of work. So you're talking that all these people could have been cooking. And so I know that a lot of the Meals on Wheels, that's an old term, sorry about that, area on aging, they have contracts with different caterers. When you have more of these types of cooks out there, you have a cadre of people who can then take care of some very specialized meals with a smaller amount of clientele and very, very hyper locally. So besides the resiliency aspect of it, the economic aspect of it, you now have all this other training that's going on. And personally, I love eating, and I would love just to be able to walk down. I have a neighbor that cooks the most amazing Middle Eastern food, and I would just like to be able to go to her house and order up and say, I'm coming over, and I'll do takeout and keep her busy doing what she needs to do. So for that kind of benefit, that's what you get. More people having a job at home means that they have some way to keep their roof over their head too. So you're talking, there's enough made. If they're busy enough, there's enough made that they can keep their rent and their mortgage in place, even if they're out of work. So yeah, that's one of the biggest things.
To elaborate a little on what Pat said, during the pandemic, in Oakland, there were 3 Michelin-starred chefs who started selling meals out of their home. If you're doing something without a permit that needs a permit, you never want press. They got press, they got busted. One thing we know by estimate, by research that we did back in 2019, is that California has 50,000 home restaurants that are all operating without a permit. So they're insecure. They could be busted at any moment. Some of them are every year. And while the Michelin-starred chefs are certainly food safe, some of the other ones haven't gotten the training that this permit would require them to get. So the 50,000 are less safe, although they're not causing any kind of epidemic problems, than it is to get the permitted ones.
I know that the supervisors approved a $1.6 million thing to basically chase off a lot of people off the streets, a lot of pop-ups, everything else. But they didn't have this pathway available to them. So it's more like you're taking away an opportunity for them to make a living and not giving them a pathway forward. So by doing this, LA has it, Santa Barbara has it among the jurisdictions, and of course, Long Beach is starting this week. Kathy, you had a question.
Yeah, are there location limitations? Because one of the issues that Peter just said, there really wasn't an issue with competition with brick and mortar restaurants, but that was part of the deal with all these pop-up things all over town. Some of the restaurants were complaining, and public health was concerned about the health implications. But it seems to me that you wouldn't want one of these people right down the street from a couple restaurants. So how does that work, where the availability of this work does not impact?
I do something called animal food rescue. It's a slight diversion, but in doing that, I'm collecting from restaurants, caterers, and other food producers the leftover scraps and so forth to feed animals. And by doing it, I'm also talking to all these restaurant people. And I've been involved with a number, probably well over 15 of them at this point. And restaurants make money at 500, to 1,000 meals a day. The limits on this are basically very, very small and not compensate. They just can't compete. So for a restaurant owner to complain about this is, like Peter was saying earlier, is that can they do their business with one employee and 100,000 cap and so forth? What this is doing is allowing the person, we've had a number of people who spoke on this. I have a mother with 2 autistic children, twins, and if she's cooking for an army all the time, And if she needs to give help to these folks, these children, she can turn off the oven and go back to it. But she can't do that, and she can't make money as an Uber. She can't do all of that outside of the home. She must be a caregiver, and she has some mobility limitations because of her own illnesses on top of it. So she is very, very limited as far as what she can do. And no restaurant is ever going to compete like that. They're not going to hire people that have to leave. Oh, I have to go home in the middle of their work shift to take care of their kids or to take care of an elder or adult care.
So are you saying that the volume and the consistency of these home buildings has no way to compete and to disrupt other businesses?
Exactly.
Because I think the image that I know I thought of initially was, I did think of like the pop-ups, but they're more than one employee. They're serving more than 90 meals. Those are true competition.
Exactly.
I kind of, in my mind, I'm seeing this as a more of a sporadic, hey, I make great pancakes, and on Sunday morning I'm gonna sell pancakes out of my house, sort of thing. I have a permit. I have my safe food handling skills, and move forward that way, as opposed to every day I'm making pancakes and I'm giving the restaurant down the street a run for their money. But how can I do that with 90 meals or less a day, or whatever it is? That's my digestion of it, and I don't know if that's what everybody else was hearing.
Well,
That's fair.
You hit the pop-up thing. That was definitely a sore point.
None of them are permitted, by the way.
Right.
Exactly.
What have, in the communities where this has gone into effect, how did the communities report back to you guys on how it's going?
Well, so I want to answer your first question, and then I can answer that one. Sonoma County actually put in a geographic restriction, which the law says they can't, and they put it in anyway. And so somebody who was restricted out sued them and won within a couple of days. Sonoma tried to say that agricultural districts could not have them because they're always fighting with their bigger wineries. The bigger wineries often have commercial kitchens on them anyway. So there are no restrictions. A jurisdiction, which is usually a county, opts in, and then it can be anywhere in the county. About half of the counties have put in a 2-year trial. We will make this permanent if everybody likes it. And the interesting thing about those 10 jurisdictions is that they've all approved it, some of them early on a consent vote, because it worked so much better than we ever expected. That, as I said, there are very few complaints of any kind, and there are occasionally nuisance complaints. There were signage. There have been a couple of complaints about smells. But those relatively few restaurateurs who are worried about competition have never really felt that they've had competition or a problem, or they've never come back and said anything about it. It is built in. You can have somebody in a strip mall get the place next to you and set up another restaurant. And as we say, the limits don't make it unfair. But because of the small size of this, they don't feel like competitions. We did have somebody who owns 15 Subway sandwich franchises in Santa Barbara make a big stink about the competition. And the only 2 Santa Barbara restaurants, MEHKOs that I know about, who are doing sandwiches are doing gourmet panini type sandwiches. And if the same people have abandoned Subway for paninis, I would be very surprised. So I think the competition is not the worry that a relatively small number of people think it is. Environmental health particularly is worried about food safety. Other people are worried about nuisance. And as I say, fortunately, neither of those has really manifested itself.
Yeah. I just put the link for that one restaurant that he mentioned in of the first MEHKO in San Diego. If you want, it's a 20-minute little thing. It's really quite something.
In the chat, Marissa.
That's in the chat box. It's in the chat.
Thank you. I thank you for coming and bringing this around to people, because I know there's people who continue to have that carryover from the pandemic when everyone was doing things, and some people are still doing whatever they started then, and or just I think a lot of us just love cooking, and it's a kind of another cool avenue if you want to do it, and I guess for me, the advantage is certainly, number one, giving people an opportunity to be able to have some kind of source of income. It's also just this, like I said, it's just this. I guess it's really nice to be able to get some food that you know where it's coming from, the source of it. Usually, the people who do this have a very high standard of what they're putting out. They have a very big, strong sense of pride with what they're doing, and I think that it's getting so hard to find things at the store that we like, and they're so expensive. It's kind of nice that you actually have a little bit more knowledge and faith in what you're consuming from someone who's making it like that. So I would heartily support it. I do know some friends who have pursued it and gone the route that you mentioned, and there is always people who are trying to find an avenue of another way to, when they're being creative, to even maybe make some income to offset what it costs for them to make these things, oftentimes. So it's like another form of being creative, for sure. So I appreciate that this is something else that people could be doing, and we can all benefit from it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the cultural exchange, because most of your early, this law was designed to help folks who are not on the privilege scale. So now we're talking about new visitors, women, and really does help to be able to get. I would love to see a Chumash restaurant based off of the same thing that Sean Sherman is doing. If I could, and I know some other people who would give them a lot of free press in the Edible magazine too. So if there was a cultural exchange like that, that would be incredible.
You say Santa Barbara has implemented this?
Yes.
Do you have a reference of someone that if we were interested to speak to and learn about their experience and how it's going?
I can get you someone who's a current MEHKO. Our lead advocate, our Pat Browne, Bobby Thompson, had health issues just as the law passed, and is still advocating but not cooking.
I was thinking with the county, like a contact with the county on.
So you can talk to their DEH head, Lars Seifeld, who was actually the only DEH director who was gung-ho about this. The other ones have either been fearful or simply said, I don't need the extra work. But he has been a major supporter of it. So.
And what's his name?
The county, go Lars Seifeld.
Lars Seifeld. Our one of our city council members that represents our area works for Santa Barbara Public Health. So he might have some idea of who to connect with too. That's great, because I think it would be a really good idea to speak to other counties who've implemented it and had success.
And with your own county, you can ask what they think of cottage food in its 13th year, and they will tell you in some ways it's different because it's shelf-stable food. But in many ways, it's not that different. It's a home-based business. It has income caps which are higher. There are no nuisance issues reported again. There are no food safety issues reported again. And half of cottage food people are bakers, and they have not put, to my knowledge, a single bakery out of business, even though there are now nearly 15,000 cottage food permittees in California, so 7,000 home bakeries.
Huh, good to know.
I just put Lars Seifert's LinkedIn bio into the chat
great.
box.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Pat or for Peter?
I have one question. If anyone needs help drafting a letter, I'd be more than willing to be available. If you could draft a letter and send it to your city council person.
You could, if you
do you have a letter that you supply to?
Yeah,
we have templates.
And
yeah.
can you put your contact information in the chat? Then if somebody wants to reach out to you separately, they can.
Let me put my email. I don't give it out too often, but you guys look honorable.
We aren't going to send anybody to your house to scare you.
Oh, I bring people to my house all the time. I'm doing stuff all the time. Besides the animal food rescue, I'm doing solar cooking demonstrations and MEHKOs and how do we prevent waste and get food out to people, especially during emergencies. I'm a registered nurse, so I get a little nervous around emergencies.
See, we are involved with food issues for twice a year. The College Area Community Council does what I'm starting to call food raisers for the Ventura College Pantry for kids who have insufficient food resources. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of involved in the food thing from a different angle.
I know we're running out of time. I'm tempted to ask you to events have a tendency of numerous laws.
You're really breaking up, so
yeah.
we were unable to follow that last sentence.
Hi, Dina.
Hi.
I was going to say events like Kathy was talking about. Hopefully, I'm not breaking up again.
No.
Often violate laws and get busted, and we don't have time to go into that, but I have watched public entities and nonprofits get busted because they didn't know they were violating the law. It's tricky to be perfect.
It is. Well, now we have some information about the process to allow people to make delicious food in their homes and sell it and share it and perhaps make some sort of income and understand what you're trying to accomplish by making your rounds, and we appreciate you filling us in.
Awesome sauce. Thank you again for this chatter at you.
Thank you for putting your contact information in the chat so that if someone has questions, they can reach out to you directly.
Pat, yours is not right. You got too many M's and you're missing a V.
Too many what?
I have Pat.
You really didn't want us to reach out, huh, Pat?
Oh, I stutter when I type too. So yeah. Well, yeah, you can figure it out.
All right. Well, thank you once again, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. We're looking
Thank
forward to
you.
hearing
Thank
more from
you.
you.
Cool.
Okay. Now let's go. Did you have something, Kathy? Were you saying something?
Nope.
Oh, I thought I did. I thought I heard you. So the only CACC business that I'm aware of at this particular time is, and we touched on it earlier, there will be no fireworks in our neighborhood this year for 4th of July, and that's going to be downtown. So we don't have to worry about making our plans for getting out of the neighborhood or doing whatever we do during fireworks time. And then as Maritza was saying, the pets can have a break from the 4th of July, the organized 4th of July fireworks anyway, because
Yeah, I was
we
going to
know,
say pets don't get a break.
yeah, the organized fireworks. Um, uh, do we have any other business that we need to, Kathy, did you want to talk about the street fair?
I don't have as much information as I was hoping to have. The
Okay.
community councils will have a booth at the street fair, but for some unknown reason, the mail that was going to MEHKO, West Side Community Council, from the city to tell us what our booth number is and where we're located, keeps bouncing back to the city. So
Oh,
I cannot report on what our booth number is, but if before I get the notes out, I do find out what the booth number is, I'll make sure that it's in the notes. And the
okay.
other thing is anybody who wants to volunteer to work at the booth for the 4th of July would be welcome. We have banners, and I think we had some brochures from last year. I'm not sure if you have those, Dina, or if Russell
I
does.
have some. I know some. I think Barbara might still have some of those. But I will say, if you do get a chance to volunteer at the 4th of July street fair, it's kind of fun because then you have a station to people watch too.
Well, then we have banners this year. What we discovered last year is Montalvo had these beautiful banners with their logo on it with the giant piece of fruit, and it really drew in the
Made us
Montalvo residents.
made us really jealous we didn't have one, but we have one now. So
Yeah, we have banners now, but it really drew in Montalvo residents. So when they got signups at the booth, they got like 25 people to sign up from the Montalvo area.
yeah,
And all the rest of us were just hanging out. It all looked like we were all working for Montalvo. So that was pretty funny. But
yeah. All
anyway,
right.
this year I think everybody has banners, and all we need is a booth number and volunteers. So let us know if
So
you want to
we're halfway
volunteer.
there, is what you're telling
Yeah,
me.
yeah, that, yeah, that's about right.
Yes, I know. Yes, we did. We had banner envy. All right. Any other updates? The only other thing I will say is, as we always do, this organization is nonprofit, and we have very few expenses, with the exception of our insurance and our Zoom, and we fund that through generous contributions of us community members. So if you find it in your heart to make a contribution because you know that uh, being able to find out information without going to the city council meeting, haha, or attending a million other meetings that you get it here, if that's valuable to you, we would encourage you to please make a contribution. You can go to our website, and there's a link there to donate. And because we are a 501c3, your donations are tax deductible. So you need a tax deduction. We need the money. I think that's all a win-win. So we hope to see your dollars as much as we hope to see you. All right, next up, any other announcements, Kathy, that I have not remembered?
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
All right, great. And Shannon Fredericks is not with us today because she is on vacation, correct?
No, I think she has a conflicting meeting.
She had a conflicting meeting. So, now we're already rounding third and heading home. And we have on the line City Council person Doug Halter to give us an update of what's going on at the City Council.
Okay, great, Dina. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. I'm also juggling a lot of meetings. It seems like the whole year has been this way. So tonight is what we call the step down dinner for downtown Rotary. And so I'm at that. They wanted us to dress in our ethnicity, whatever our background is. And hence my decoration is my hat as coming from an Italian background. And so, so it was kind of convenient. I figured I'd do this and go back in and watch the rest of the meeting.
Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. No, I love it. I always enjoy seeing you guys and trying to share what I know and hopefully spend more time just answering questions that you may have. But first off, I guess you mentioned the fireworks. Let's start with that. Okay. The fireworks was always put on by the Downtown Rotary. And they've done that for the last 30 years. And I think even before it went from the beach to the college. And with the advent of the housing that's going to be built on the college and the preparation for that, this is the first year that we had to pull off the college campus and go someplace else. So that's why it's happening in downtown. And that was about an 18-month endeavor to see where we could have it. There's challenges at the beach. There's reasons why it left the beach 30 plus years ago. And we'll see how this goes. I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be on the 3rd and not on the 4th for a variety of reasons. They will be shooting off fireworks in the top of the parking structure on Santa Clara Street. Now, personally, I think it might be safer doing it over the ocean, but I guess it's going to be exciting to see the change and the difference. The city, because of the 250th anniversary, will be paying for the fireworks this year. The choreography, music, and other stage activities will happen at the California and Maine stage. So hopefully there'll be a lot of people to enjoy watching the fireworks together and listening to the music that accompanies all the fireworks as the beauty is shot into the air. So that's the story of why it's happening downtown and not at the college. Okay.
Got it.
Now, one other thing, and it disappoints me. I hope some people have seen some promotion. We think we have all these ways of communicating, and then when you're looking for information, it seems like that's just the piece that you can't find. So the whole week, starting this coming Saturday, all the way through the 4th of July, is filled with 4th of July events. And again, in honor and excitement for the 250-year celebration of our country. And I think for a lot of us, we've gone through a lot of challenges. And I know it's the anxiety and exasperation of such a divided country at this point in time. Historically, we've had times similar, maybe not quite exactly to the severity, but it's times like now celebrating the good and the ideals of America and the fact that we're continually trying to strive to adhere and to make sure that those are so interwoven that they can't be overlooked. And so we keep striving for perfection. And it's a great opportunity to celebrate with all of our neighbors and friends and family, and maybe put down any of the differences we may have politically and just try to do what Americans do best and have a great time and celebrate major achievements. So that's my hope, but that's one thing. And secondly is we finished the budget. I think you know that we approved our budget for the coming year, 26, 27 budget. It's a balanced budget. The challenge that I think some of you, I see Carol there, have heard me say many times, is if you look at our city budget year after year, we depend largely on property taxes and sales tax. And we rely upon year after year modest, mainly CPI or inflationary increases in those funds. And unfortunately, the cost to do things and provide services seems to go up faster than the revenue itself. So the city has always, for the last 20 years at least, been in a position of dwindling resources and having to find ways to meet the needs of our community. We found for the last 20 to 30 years, a lot of Band-Aids have been put on our infrastructure because it's extremely costly to fix. And we're really feeling the pain right now. And we're trying to put, well, instead of $8 million a year, which is what we normally would be putting at this point in time towards road repairs, not capital improvements where we're replacing the roads, but road repairs. That's normally what we're put in. We're putting in $28 million, again, for the second year in a row, trying to get ahead of it. Unfortunately, the pavement management plan says that we need to spend $47 million a year for the next 10 to 15 years just to get our roads up to the rating of 70 on a scale of 1 to 100. That is the lowest acceptable level a community should be at according to the state of California. Okay, so we have a huge price tag trying to fix the roads. And that's just the roads. It's not the sidewalks. It's not the sewers and other infrastructure under the ground. We're working on ways to achieve that. I think our best way is creating more prosperity, bringing the businesses back to our community that most Venturans drive to every day outside of our city. Providing a variety of housing and housing needs that we have for our community so the next generation can live here, finding ways to create more prosperity in a way that is very Ventura and doesn't take away from our community what we know we all love and what our values are. That's really the direction we chose to take when 3 weeks or so ago we voted down bringing forward a 1 cent sales tax increase. And that was voted down despite the polls that showed that it could win by as much as a 1%. The timing, it's never good to raise taxes, but the timing with so much uncertainty and things going on in our community, and the fact that we really have not clearly shown exactly how we would spend the money. And as a general tax versus a special tax, you only need 50 plus 1 to win. If we identify exactly how we're going to spend it, that would be a 2/3 vote. And it was pretty much felt by the majority of the council that it would not pass no matter what. And let's go ahead and try the old-fashioned way and try to create more prosperity for our community and more vitality. And thus that would increase revenues for the city and prosperity for all of us who live here, and hopefully higher wages and better jobs and so forth. So we're going down that path. The other thing, though, is we're looking at ways to create a better economy. And one of the things, and I know all of you pretty well, you know me, is I firmly believe in seeing the effects of the cultural arts in our community. So I'm a strong proponent of that. And I see and realize, as all the studies show, that the cultural arts significantly is a major return on investment for the community. From an economic standpoint, put aside all the benefits associated with quality of life and enjoyment and entertainment and meeting neighbors and community building. Anyways, all that said is we did put in a position for a cultural arts professional to be added to the economic development department in the city manager's office. We also put in money. We also put in money for to start finding ways to improve our tennis courts. That came out loud and clear as we had to close Camino Real because of lawsuits. And so we're moving forward on the budget and trying to take a different direction as we go through and probably start working on, I believe, this fall, on more strategies on how we're going to get to the goals that we desperately need in this community. All right, so that's budget. The next thing, there's so many things that are interesting, and sometimes the most obvious thing isn't the answer, or may not be the answer. We have a committee called Committee on Committees, which is I kind of laugh because it's kind of the ultimate bureaucracy. We have a committee to tell us what to do with our committees, right? And but what it was is 3 council members that are on that spent a lot of time looking at ways to make our committees better. And one of the things that we did a few years back is each council member is able to pick one planning commissioner to sit on the planning commission. The council has chosen to go that route with all the other committees as well. And whether it's be Parks and Recs, we're keeping historic preservation in a lower scope than what it has now. And a major change was that we chose to eliminate design review committee. Now, it sounds horrible, but if what we look at and what I looked at in voting is we have an extremely lengthy, unpredictable, and untimely process that makes it very difficult for people who want to invest in the things that we need in this community from following through and doing that. Our projects, commercial projects, take anywhere from 12 to 24 years to come through fruition. Housing could be, I think I was one of the worst. It took 5.5 years for me to get a permit to build my own house. So we have a process. It's fine if you're going through a lengthy process that results into really spectacular projects. And the question about design review and historic committee, in particular historic preservation, wasn't about do you believe in good design and want the best designs for our community, and do you believe in protecting our historic resources, which on both accounts, I know I absolutely strongly believe in that. A big part of my life is about both of those. And same thing with I know other council members feel just as strong. But the question on the table is the way that we're trying to get the best designs and protect our historic elements. Are we doing the best thing to do that? And you don't have to look too far with the projects that have gone up that were approved as much as 8 to 10 years ago to say, are these designs that were worth a 10 to 20 year process? Did we get a better project that fits into what the quality of our community desires or not? And I would say it is not living up to providing the best designs. And that's why I chose a different path along with the majority of the council. There's another one. Oh, okay. Want to talk about Main Street Move for 1 second? Still a couple minutes, then we go to questions.
Yep.
Okay. These are just some highlights. Okay. I knew they're controversial.
Sure. No, there's always a lot. We appreciate it, Doug. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, Main Street Moves. Okay. The issue, again, the question isn't should it be open or should it be closed? The question is, how do we create the most successful and prosperous downtown? How do we do that? We have data. We saw what happened. It's undeniable that through COVID, that closing Main Street, the forethought that the council members back then had saved a lot of businesses and gave us an outlet during COVID without risking contamination. But since then, we had 3 years to make something more of Main Street Moves. However, we were also saddled with lawsuits that prevented us from taking permanent moves or anything, spending taxpayers' dollars on something that any day, any moment, it could be revoked. So from February 28th, 23, when COVID officially ended, and September of last year, we were fighting lawsuits. And once we were overcoming those, we decided in September as a council that we would keep Main Street closed and started finding ways to invest money to make downtown exponentially better and more successful and more vital than ever before. We're embarking upon the first summer that we can actually activate downtown and put in ballards and do a lot of different events that get people to come downtown and work with the merchants. We have design standards that have been approved to design for the parklets that are supposed to be implemented. And we're on a road to really see together if we could make the closure of downtown successful for all merchants, not just half or slightly more than that. A lot of the data that's been collected is very questionable, depending on how it's been collected and when it was collected. So there's been a lot of hassle, a lot of concern about what is the real data. Do the businesses enjoy it? Do they not? Property owners. We know that the general public enjoys it. We know that a month ago it came out that niche survey or what's it called? Marketers who identifies communities, looks at the 18,000 cities that have 100,000 people or more, and chooses a ranking for how they rank in quality of life. Well, affordability is a big part of quality of life. So the West Coast tends to suffer on quality of life. Except Ventura, it ranked again 108 out of 18,000 cities. Okay. And then they took it down to the neighborhood level. Okay. 200,000 neighborhoods in the top 18,000 cities in this country. And because of pedestrian friendly, quality of the cultural arts, diversity of its restaurants and stores, and amenities that exist inside that neighborhood, and people's happiness in living there, our downtown Ventura neighborhood ranks 17 out of 200,000 neighborhoods across this country. A major thing to happen. Now, Palo Alto took the first 16 neighborhoods. So they have 16 neighborhoods that ranked 1 through 16. Ventura took 17th. Santa Monica took 18th and 19th. And Berkeley took the 20th for one of their neighborhoods. Okay. So there are things we're doing right. Last night, well, prior to last night, it came up on future agendized items to consider. 62 people initially signed a petition that they wanted Main Street opened immediately. That happened under future agendized items. We were not able to talk about it because it wasn't an agendized item. But by deciding to do a check-in and hear from other opinions in November, it put enough uncertainty into the puzzle so that if I was a business owner, I personally wouldn't pull
No.
$30,000 to $60,000 on a parklet. So last night it was all about changing the parklet and the timelines. And for me, it was all about until we give at least 3 years of certainty that the business owners would be allowed to use their parklets for at least 3 years, the rest is immaterial. And so it stands right now that we're going to go out and see if you had go business to business and find out if you had 3 years, if you knew for a fact you could use your parklet for 3 years, would you purchase and build a parklet for your business? And if that answer is what we think it would be, 30 to 50 businesses will say yes, then we may have to move up some of the timeframes. If it's no, I still won't do it, then honestly, Main Street moves doesn't mean a lot if people won't have their parklets on the street. So that's what we're up against there. Let me open it up to questions because I think I already talked too much. I always do, sorry. So, but if there's questions, because there's so much other things going on, but those are some highlights. Any questions?
I didn't have any. I had a question about Main Street moves. You mentioned talking to the business owners. Is there any thought to giving, I mean, like, since we're coming back again and having all of these conversations, having like some sort of a forum where good, bad, or indifferent people can air their feelings? Because I think a lot of people don't feel like they're being necessarily heard on the issue. And I don't know if we could have some sort of community forum where it'd have to be kind of controlled because you don't just want people ranting and raving, but just to kind of air where people are about it so that even if they move forward in a direction that doesn't please somebody, that they know that they had the opportunity to be heard.
You're right on. And it's really all about, we all want the same goal, and it's how we get to that goal. And I did reach out to personally over a month ago, maybe a little longer, to 25 or 30 of the people who really wanted it open. And there's a lot of common interest in the elements that we're trying to create. It's just the belief on, will we really be able to do it or not? And it was mentioned last night that, successful businesses have to pivot, and we should pivot and open immediately. And I believe in, you have to, as you know, too, Dina, being in business, is that you have to pivot. You have to be willing to quickly change direction when you see it's not
Oh, yeah.
working. But unfortunately, when it comes to Main Street moves, I really feel we never left go. We have never had a chance yet to prove what we can do. So it'd be a shame to give up that opportunity. But what was decided as well, and thanks for leading me on it, is that there will be an ad hoc committee of 3 council members that will hear from all people and reach out to business owners, property owners. We've done a lot of this, but in what you described was exactly what the meeting in last September was all about, where we had 83 people speak very passionately in favor of keeping it closed. But because world's dynamic, we have changing almost every day, changing scenarios with our economy and so forth.
The economy
makes
seems
sense.
very different from now since September too. I
would
mean,
agree.
a lot has changed. It's not the same.
I am with you. And
Yeah.
so with that, we will be reaching out to the businesses. But I think once we start the ad hoc committee, which should happen, I think, very shortly, which time's of the essence, I believe we're going to have to bring a meeting back to the council and do what we did in September one last time to make it definitive for a certain time period that we're going to keep Main Street closed and try this out or open it up. And
whatever the
and
has the decision still been shoved to November?
It is. It's still in November.
I do not think that is fair. That's my 2 cents.
Carol, I got to tell you, it's painful. The reason why that happened, we voted no on the future agendized item twice. And then it came back in another iteration about, don't you want to just hear and listen? Well, we do listen to people all day long, every day of the week. But the reality is the idea at midnight that night when we chose November was be a check-in to see how did we do over the summertime? Is this worth pursuing still or not? And in turn, it became, okay, it's another meeting to decide if we're going to keep it open or keep it closed or open it. And I agree with you. I think if we can't give the certainty for these parklets to be available.
Why should anybody spend the money? Right? I mean, I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't either. And I don't want to waste the summer. So it's really been a quagmire so that's why I think this ad hoc committee is going to start right away and start gathering that information and reporting back every week or every meeting to the council. Because I have a feeling that date, we're going to go dark on July 15th to August 15th. And so the year is fleeting away. I mean, so yeah, but I'm with you.
Didn't some of that delay have to do with the lawsuit being in place and then the lawsuit being dropped, and so then all of a sudden we're in a thing where a decision was made to talk about it later because of that the lawsuit kind of gumming up the works, I guess is how I'd put it.
Well, the lawsuits gummed us up for, if you will, for 3 years since February 28th of 23 until September. In September, our agendized meeting to discuss pros and cons and should we keep Main Street closed or should we open it happened, and we had a lot of people there. And it was
No, yeah, I remember the happening.
it
Yeah.
was a very positive meeting too, to be honest. So that was exciting to see. But now, because of changing dynamics in the downtown and this new list of 62 businesses and growing that are saying they want it opened, um, it's kind of, we can't go through this every 3 months or 6 months. We would never get anything done doing this.
Right.
But at some point, you stick to the path you're going on and say, let's give our all work together, give our all to make this the best downtown it could ever be. And whether we have all the funding to do our vision or not, it doesn't take much to make it better each year, each month, uh, um, and marketing and working together. The successful things I've seen happen, I've seen so many ideas, as a lot of you have, come into our city, and the ones that have taken root, literally, have been things that have a huge snowball momentum of excitement and enthusiasm and support. My fear with downtown is when you have half the merchants loving it, the other half not. If we're going to be fighting each other and proving each other right or wrong, we're going to hurt all of us in doing that. So, Carol, I think if there's any way to move that date forward, I will keep working on that. But it's quite a quagmire. And when you talk about businesses, and this is one of the bigger things, and Dana, I'm not sure what you're feeling in your industry, but as a small business owner, I have been for many years. I do really, I've said it publicly once or twice, is this is truly the largest assault on small businesses I've ever seen in my life. And all politics aside, the fact is that when you put a dark cloud over all the labor, all the physical labor, of which a lot of it is blue collar and a lot of it is minorities and immigrants, you that dark cloud it impacts morale, it impacts productivity, it impacts reliability if people show up. And then you add on to that the tariffs on, tariffs off, tariffs on. It impacts our product stream and our availability of product and what pricing we might get that product at, to the point that you could lose your butt with one wrong mistake in catching that trend of tariffs at the wrong time. And then with what's happened in Iran, I know my company is spending $1,800 to $2,000 more each week on fuel. Now it's coming down now, but it's been 3 months of spending almost $2,000 a week that I can't pass on. And I'm just one small business. Okay. You take all that together, it's a struggle for small businesses at the same time that the stock market continues to go higher and higher. With the more uncertainty, the more risk, the more chaos that's created, the stock market goes up. So what we've all raised to think that the backbone of this country is small businesses, and the small businesses are hurting right now and being assaulted, yet the stock market is not representing what we're all feeling. So it's become more of a,
Representing AI. It's
pardon me?
all about AI.
Well, that's definitely part of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Well,
But
we're not going to solve the problems of the
I
city or
know.
the world tonight, or the nation, but for that matter.
Yeah.
But Doug, I always appreciate your comments, and it's just it's got to be a little frustrating, all the back and forth. But thank you for being a representative and reporting to us here.
Well, anytime. You guys just let me know if you need me again, and
All
I'll
right.
get back in and finish my chicken. Okay.
All right.
Okay. You guys enjoy your evening.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Doug.
All right. All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
I don't believe that we have anything else on our agenda for this evening. And unless there's something else that somebody has, we can close the meeting and bid you all a good night. Thank you for attending.